Video games. From the early 1970s to the present, video games have been used as a channel for entertainment amongst people of all ages worldwide. For some, video games have positively contributed towards who they are today and have been attributed as a distraction to their busy everyday lives.
Because I've been playing since I was like 6 years old. I had an original Xbox, I had an Xbox 360, I have an Xbox One now, had a Game Boy growing up. Like, it's just, I play video games, ergo, I'm a gamer. I have a really short attention span a lot of the time, so like I don't like watching TV or watching movies because it's really hard to focus on. But video games are so constant and changing that it's really easy to constantly have new stimulation going on up top rather than having to focus on the same thing constantly.
I just always love to compete against people. Mostly PvP, like player versus player. I don't really like to play against computers, campaign modes, things like that. But I think it just channels my competitive spirit. That's what makes me a gamer. They just bring people together. I don't think they necessarily tear us apart. For me personally, they're an escape from my regular everyday life, and so I can just kind of coop up in here and again channel that competitive spirit, let it out a little bit, let out a little bit of emotion, you know, that I don't normally get to, because outside of my room, outside of my home, I'm just kind of a dull person. But out, you know, like in here, people don't really see it, but I'm like a very animated person when I play.
Typically, if we play as a family, we like to play Black Ops. Or we'll play Minecraft together as a family. We haven't got into playing Fortnite as a family yet, just because I can't figure it out. So it just gives them an outlet, you know, if they're fidgety or if they just want to escape for a little bit. They really enjoy just having that time to themselves. Being able to play with their friends online. It really helped during the winter when you couldn't get out. Being able to connect with friends, but yet still be at home in the comfort, you know, of your own setting. So.
But most of the time I play the Arkham series of Arkham Asylum, City, Origins, occasionally Arkham Knight, just a stress reliever, kind of the time travel, I always called it. You'd sit down and play, next thing you know, 2-3 hours has gone by and you weren't really thinking about anything else, and so you could just kind of clear your mind, and that's what it's always kind of been for me.
In 2017, the video game industry received a sudden burst of energy within what is called Battle Royale gaming. PUBG Corporation's PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds and Epic Games' Fortnite were the sources of the Battle Royale spark that captured immediate worldwide attention.
So Battle Royales are anywhere between 24 to 100 players all get put into the same map and have to just destroy all the other players until there's only one remaining. Some of the Battle Royales implement a storm, essentially, that condenses the map into smaller and smaller areas as more and more time goes by, so that way players are forced to have to interact and games can go through quicker. I also think it was just a build-up of bad multiplayer games over the recent years, because really H1Z1 started it all, and that came out in a response to DayZ, which was a open world type of battle royale survival game that completely flopped and did terribly. But H1Z1 came out, did really well, and then games followed that up like PUBG, Fortnite, and Apex Legends, and they've all really taken off because, one, it's the in thing, it's the trend, and so everybody wants to follow it, not to mention that it does get very heavily publicized.
A lot of people were into the modern style of fighting, the modern style of warfare, and so you had PUBG caught a lot of people's attention because not a lot of people want to play 10-minute games of just regular team deathmatch in like a Call of Duty or a Battlefield. And then Fortnite took off. They just made it fun, and I think again it brought people together. It allowed people to really communicate with one another. It taught good communication skills. They had emotes, skins, and it's not pay to win.
Some days that's all that they think about. That's all they want to do. We have outside things to do, basketball, trampoline, but there are some days where all they focus on is wanting to get online and play Fortnite. They come home from school, they get on YouTube, they get on the PlayStation 4, and that's all that they want to do. So, as a mom, it just kind of drives you nuts sometimes because you want them to do other things. So you just have to really monitor how much time that they're trying to invest in it.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is kind of like just how social media is today. It's just a different way to interact with people, whether it is in person, online, with a game. My son plays a lot of his games online and with his friends from high school, and so I think that's just another way and a newer way to interact with everybody. I just never really ventured out. I don't spend that much on games. I usually buy them after they've been out for a while. It's just kind of one of those things, money, got a family, you got to do that. So I just don't really venture out much. I suppose if I had some options to get them for free and try them out for a while, I'd probably maybe give it a try, but until then, I probably won't.
When you do play online, you don't know really who they're playing with. So I think a lot of the younger kids can be, significantly, affected by who they're playing with. And so I think if there's a parent who really doesn't know what's going on or what the game entails, I think it's not very good for the child. But I think as long as the parents are involved, I think it's a great thing. It can be kind of obsessive at times, but also it's just really fun, and it's just the new wave for the kids these days.
You hear word of mouth, and then you're like, hey, let's try it out. Download it. Again, it's free, so of course you're going to give it a shot. You're like, well, I like shooter games. That's kind of fun. And then there's a lot of other cool animations and stuff, a lot of cool, items that you can play with, and it's just very interactive. And I started playing and realized that there is a real skill to it, and there's not a lot of games that I play that I feel like I'm actually really, really, really good at. Until this one came along, and then I was like, I'm not too bad at this. I'll grind it out, keep playing a lot of games, and see how good I can get at it. Maybe become, a real competitive player.
They're fun. I really, that's what it is. More so, I lean towards the first-person shooter heavy games. So with PUBG and Apex, where your skill is based on your shooting capabilities, rather than Fortnite, where if you can't build, like me, you're not going to get dunked on by a 12-year-old who built a 10-story tower in 2 seconds. But yeah, I enjoy them because they're fun. Also because I run a Twitch channel, and so I have to kind of play whatever's sensationalized at the moment to really garner any amount of attention.
Like I said, everybody likes different things, and that's the one nice thing about the video games is there is so much out there that you can usually find the things that you like.
For kids, I think it's fun. I think it's new and it's exciting, and I'm sure someday the fad will, it'll fade just like most do. I think rather than trying to force it right now, just kind of let it play out like most trends, and I think eventually, there'll be something new and exciting come along that'll probably, push it out of the way.
It's been in my life for a good over a year now, so. And as much as I want to say I'll never play them again, and yes, I've said that many times, I've uninstalled the game a couple times, I still play them. They are just a part of your life now. They'll always pique my interest. If there's a new one that comes out, I'm like, I gotta play that. So yes, definitely.
I think they're good. I'm interested to see the long-term impact on the industry, and hope we don't have a video game industry crash like in the 90s again. That'd be terrible. However, I think for the now they're good.